live studio audience is about to shoot unscripted questions. This is Agenda Kenya with Jason Nyantino.
On Agenda Kenya tonight, Honorable Mwangi Kiunjuri, Assistant Minister for Public Works, Member of Parliament, Laikipia East. Honorable Justin Muturi, Chairman, Center for Multi-Party Democracy, CMD. Gabriel Mukele, Advocate of the High Court of Kenya. And last but not least, Peter Simani, Chairman, Political Parties Disputes Tribunal. Many thanks for joining us. Welcome to Agenda Kenya this week. I am Jason Nyantino. Tonight on this program, we look at the new Political Parties Act, and we want to find out if this new law is finally going to entrench the elusive internal political party democracy in this country. I've got audience members coming in from different parts of the country, namely Kericho County, Murang'a County, and of course Nairobi County. You're most welcome to tonight's discussion. Our first question of the evening is from Kingsley Odida, who is a youth leader. Kingsley, your question, please.
The Political Parties Act 2011 clearly states that a person shall not be a member of two political parties or more at any time. Now, my question is, do we have a threshold on which we can judge whether a person has defected from one party to another? Because we are seeing politicians day in, day out claiming that they are still in one party, and yet they are coming up with new parties plus alliances.
Honorable Kinjuri.
With the new political act is very clear on the issues of membership of a particular party. And this is clear in Article 14(5) of the Political Parties Act, that you must belong to only one political party, and if you go to the contrary and join another political party, information, either you form a political party, join information of another political party, or in fact articulate issues of another political party, and it's very elaborate that you cease to become a member of the political party that either elected you or sponsored you to be elected in the House. Okay. But as we start today, the law has not been properly applied, because it is not the law itself to go ahead and start applying itself. It is us as individuals. It is you as Kenyans who are supposed to provoke that law. And that can be done through the courts, through you people challenging those members who are already behaving to the contrary to what the political party.
Right. That's a good way to start, Honorable Kinjuri. Let's start with you now. On which party were you elected to Parliament in 07?
I was sponsored to the Party of National Unity.
That's PNU?
Yes. By GNU through Nakenya. Because by the time...
Sorry, that's a bit confusing.
That's very confusing, I know.
So come up again, please.
Okay, I was sponsored, let me be a bit clear.
Yes, please.
I was sponsored by the Party of National Unity to Parliament, that is PNU. But I was seconded to that party by Nakenya. And we had already an agreement with Nakenya that because we have already formed GNU.
What does GNU stand for?
Grand National Union Party of Kenya. Okay. That we should agree that all of us join PNU through Nakenya. And it was very clear from the onset that we were not joining PNU as members of that party. It was only supposed to give us that certificate to enable us to go for elections. Okay. And we are supposed to launch, that time, the necessary instrument of coalition with the PNU, which was not properly done.
All right.
And that is why you get, even today, nobody in PNU is challenging existence of other parties and us joining other political parties.
So, Mheshimiwa, do you now think you're part of the problem as far as Political Parties Act is concerned?
No.
You sound like you're part of the problem.
No. I would like to say the following, that this political act that we have today has made it very clear, or it is meant to clean up this political mess. Because we must agree that we are in a mess right now. Because what is supposed to be done, okay, in terms of respecting the political parties and other relevant laws of this country has not been done before. For example, there are those agreements deposited with the registrar of political parties. No one wants to mention about them. But all what people want to mention is that you are not acting in accordance to a certain party.
All right.
But this party is not very open to Kenyans to tell them that we had rules of engagement before you joined them.
All right. Gabriel, do you think the law is being followed as it is?
No. Nobody has been following the law in this country as far as the political parties are concerned and the elections. People simply moved left and right and defected, and the parties belonged to the owners. So at the moment, we are talking about keeping a register of members. Has anybody started making out a register? Can I walk to any office now and see a register? No. Now, what is important for us this year, and it is very tight and the mechanism is not in place. So what we need at the moment is get down to the ground, let people recruit members. Going by the question of the young man over there, you need to know to which party a person belongs. And now when they will be doing, for example, nominations, if you are supposed to go by so many people or to register so many people, and your name goes there, I think the system now is possible. You can identify by using an ID whether this person already belongs to another party. But the mechanism in place is not there. There are no party registers as far as I'm concerned. It is something that we have got to get down to in Kenya and begin building. At the moment, no.
All right. Mheshimiwa Muturi, one of the provisions of this act, the Political Parties Act, is that, the registrar shall ensure that no person is a member of more than one political party. That is what the law says. Do you think this is happening? Because we have a registrar, we have an acting registrar. Do you think that the law has been followed as far as that is concerned?
Let me begin by to understand the current situation in the country, and thank you very much to Kingsley for the question. To understand where we are as a country, the Political Parties Act came into force on 1st of November last year. Before it, of course, it was enacted on the 1st of August. But before it, we had already given ourselves as a country a constitution. In that constitution, there is Chapter 7, which is on representation, and Chapter 8, which is on the legislature. Then there are Articles 129 to 155. I'm mentioning those ones deliberately because of a simple reason. In Section 2 of the 6th schedule, which is the transitional clauses, Chapter 7 and 8 and Articles 129 to 158 are suspended until after the first elections held in accordance with the Constitution, which we have today.
So what exactly do those articles say? And probably why are they suspended?
You see, what they say, the representation is about the IEBC itself is in Article 88, the creation, the dispute resolution, boundaries issue, Article 89, political parties requirements, Article 91, and Article 92, which gives actually the reason for the Political Parties Act itself. Now, as far as Parliament is concerned today, if this Chapter 7 was not suspended, then Article 103 of the Constitution would come into play, which shows our member of Parliament or a councillor would lose their seat by hopping from the party on whose ticket they were sponsored into either the House or into the local authority. Okay. But now, because of Section 2 in the 6th schedule, now the application of that is suspended.
Until
after the first elections under this constitution, which is the reason why a number of people who we know very well-known personalities, who were elected on well-known and strong political parties, are capable of moving and forming other political parties because they know the application of this 103, which is in chapter 8, is suspended.
All right.
So that is the reason.
Thank you,
But
Mheshimiwa.
resignation is provided for under the Political Parties Act.
All right. Mr. Simani, do you think, what does your job entail first in the Political Parties Tribunal? And where do you stand in this debate? Do you think politicians have a lot of power to defect at will? Do you think this law captures that?
Well, first of all, the tribunal which I chair, which is the first of its kind in this region and perhaps on the continent, was envisaged as a tool or a mechanism to quickly resolve political disputes. And the mandate of the tribunal is clearly outlined under Section 40 of the Act. Now, which includes disputes among political parties, members of political parties, coalition partners, and those in political parties that are dissatisfied with the decisions of the registrar.
Do you have any cases you're handling at the
Yes,
moment?
we have. We have done about, roughly since we were created, I think we are now on the 10th or 11th dispute.
Okay.
10th or 11th, and it's gaining momentum. And to the second part of your question, with respect to what they call party hopping and so forth.
Yes.
Practically speaking, there is a mechanism in place. And you only need to ask my good friend, Mheshimiwa there, about the current process for registering and qualifying to be a political party. The registrar and the IE...
So do you agree, sorry to cut, do you agree with what Honorable Muturi said?
That
there are some sections which are suspended until after the next election?
Yes, they are, but that does not address the question that was posed to us.
All right.
And the question that was posed to us is whether there is a mechanism to stem that practice. And yes, there is a mechanism to stem that practice. Right now, I'll give you an example. Parties are required to have a minimum of 1,000 members from half the counties. That's about 25,000 members. And all those members are on a database. The database is kept at the IEBC, so that any political party now that puts together a list of members and you go to the registrar, all the registrar does is input in a computer and the computer spits out who will be a member, who will not be a member. So the mechanism is in place as we speak now.
All right, thank you very much. We must take a break, but we are back shortly. Don't go away. Welcome back to Agenda Kenya with me, Jason Nyantino. Tonight we are discussing Political Parties Act, and we're finding out, is this law going to finally entrench internal political party democracy? Mr. Simani, you had something to say before we took a break, but I want you to also include the fact that section, that's part 4 of section 34, which says that in case the registrar of political parties finds out that somebody belongs to 2 political parties, they report to the commission, which I want to believe is IEBC. Are you comfortable with that? I mean, will that cater for this party hopping?
You see, it was supposed to cater for the party hopping, but you see, a member of a political party only needs to write a letter of resignation and present it to the registrar to leave that political party.
But clearly they are not writing the letters.
No, they are. People are resigning and joining other parties, and you just need to ask...
Members of parliament or just...
No. Members of political parties, not members of parliament. Okay. Members of parliament are unlikely to do that at the moment. Yes.
Honorable Munturi, very quickly, because I want you to respond to this particular provision. Why does the registrar report to the commission and probably not Clerk of National Assembly via a member of parliament?
If you're a member of parliament, the obvious place to report to for action, first of all, is the clerk.
But the act does not say that.
Because the information will come from, there's a linkage between the IEBC and the National Assembly.
So that is beyond the law?
It's beyond the, yeah, it goes beyond.
What if nothing happens? I mean,
it is in the Constitution.
Assuming the commission receives the letter, Honorable X is a member of two political parties, and they inform the commission. The commission's work is basically to manage elections, not to determine who sits in parliament and who doesn't.
Yes, but the commission has a responsibility to, not the commission really, the registrar. The registrar has a responsibility to inform the body that links him or her to the National Assembly.
But you agree that that is not captured in the Act?
It is not in the Act, it is in Article 103 of the Constitution.
Of the Constitution.
Remember, I made reference to it, that if you want to know that a member of parliament, how the member loses their seat, it is by going to Article 103. Right. If they resign from the party on whose ticket they were first elected, and that information is then going to be relayed to the National Assembly by the appropriate body, which is now the registrar of political parties.
Thank you. I'll take my next question of the evening from Purity Atieno. Purity is a student.
There are different functions that a registrar of political parties is supposed to perform. Now, is it right that the political parties' deadline to abide by the Act is realized, while at the moment we don't have a registrar?
Honorable Kiunjuri, then we come to Gabriel. There's no substantive registrar of political parties. Is it why you guys have a lot of freedom around here?
The office holder, you can hold either when you are substantive or in acting capacity. Already, the registrar who is acting is deemed to be the substantive registrar. And two, he's already performing his duties because the Act is very clear on how to apply, to make an application, and how you get both full registration and provincial registration.
Hang on, Mheshimiwa. I think the Act is very clear on how the new Act that was passed by November last year. There are procedures on how the registrar is appointed, Parliament is involved, the two principals are involved. That procedure has not been followed. So are you telling us that the acting registrar has all the powers to act within the law?
Yes, because he's acting registrar as for now. And there is no law that is disputing that. The only to dispute this, if we have contravened the new constitution, then she'll be acting unconstitutionally. The question we try to address ourselves is, have we contravened the new constitution? If not so, then she's in the office properly.
All right.
And as for now, the law is very clear that you have 30 days to apply for provincial registration. And immediately you apply for that, you have 180 days to comply.
No, that is clear. We're talking about the registrar's office. By the way, what happened in Parliament? Where is this process? Because you sit in Parliament.
You see, the work of Parliament is to register it. Sometimes you originate what to register it, and sometimes the executive itself originates. So the question here is, are the principals carrying out their mandate as required by the law?
So what happened? Did they not follow the law? Are they sleeping on the job?
I think they're still consulting. There's a lot of consultation.
This consultation is very long.
Still consulting. Yeah. And whenever you see them not disagreeing, then they're in agreement. Because whenever they are disagreeing, you see one of them saying, no, I was not consulted. And therefore, we believe they are still consulting on the issue.
Clearly, the law was not followed, and now the Justice Minister says the same law has to be amended for the process to start. That Section 35 has to be amended for the process to start. But I want to hear that from the lawyer on the panel. Lack of a substantive registrar of political parties. Do you think it's posing problems?
Yeah, it would probably, because it may not be in accordance with the Constitution. But nevertheless, we have the transition period. We are coming from some place to another place. Now, if we just say all these places are vacant and anybody there is there illegally, that's not quite correct. So if there is somebody there in the office and with that title, it's presumed to go on until such a time that we get a proper procedure and a proper appointment of a registrar. So in my view, she, I think, is not a he. She is there legally until such a time that interviews will be carried out and the provisions stated by the law are met.
So if somebody goes to court today and says this registrar has not been appointed, and Kenyans love going to court nowadays, I'm sure you know that. They say the registrar is not duly appointed. Do you think we're going to have problems?
Not necessarily, because there are circumstances. When the law became effective, now, was that office existing? It may not be existing in the proper form in accordance with the law. But it is a transition period, as I said. So it will depend on the circumstances presented before the court for the court to hold that anything she's doing is illegal.
All right. All right, let's get to hear the audience now. I'll start from my left. There's the lady in black on my left. Your name and comment or question.
Okay, I'm Shamila Adongo. We have, like, most of our ministers are in many political parties. Like, I can quote, like Mheshimiwa William Ruto. When he was elected with ODM. Then he moved to UDM, and now he has formed another party, URP. So which party is he in? ODM, UDM, or URP? And what can the law do about it, the political act?
All right, I can assure you we don't want to run away from that one. I'll start with Mr. Timani on the panel, Honorable Ruto, and others. There are so many doing what Ruto is doing.
Well, first of all, when you're trying to answer a question like that, the only lawful records are the ones with the registrar of political parties. And the records there, in my view, show that Honorable William Ruto is is an ODM member. He is not a member of URP or UDM, but he aspires, and he's feathering a nest. So as far as the registrar is concerned, he is a member of ODM and has not resigned as of now. But there's nothing stopping people preparing themselves for the future.
All right, Honorable Muturi, probably if somebody comes out in public, like Honorable Ruto has done, and other politicians, and they profess allegiance, if I can put it like that, to another political party, do you think legally we have recourse? Can you take on that person? Will they have contravened the law?
I still want to go to my original explanation. Yes, in terms of Section 14 of the Political Parties Act 2011, and indeed the former Section 17 of the former Act, if you advocated for the formation or campaigned for a party other than the one on whose ticket you had been elected with whichever institution, parliament or local authority, you are deemed, and mark you, the word used was deemed to have resigned from your original party. And therefore, the question she has put would actually make a lot of sense, even today in court, if one were to go to court. And Kenyans have been written to be such court-loving, court-going lovers that I think we have a distinction, and you are right, therefore. But in terms of whether the member would lose their parliamentary seat, in terms of Article 103 of the Constitution, which Constitution is superior to the Political Parties Act, I think anybody challenging on the ground that they are deemed to have resigned, the member would now fall back to Article 103 and argue of the Constitution and argue that the application of this is suspended until after the first elections under this new Constitution.
All right. So does that then mean that the Political Parties Act contravenes the Constitution?
It does not, because if that were to happen, the particular scenario that we are witnessing, if it were to happen after we have held the first elections under this Constitution, then the full force of Section 14 would be brought to bear.
All right, my next audience question. on my extreme right, the lady in yellow.
My name is Anne. I'm a student. When these parties are being formed, do you actually look at what they intend to do? Because there are many parties and we do not know their main aim. What are you doing about that?
All right, Honorable Kinjuri, you've formed parties, so I think you're the most qualified on this panel to answer that question.
You know, there must be an intention. Let me first of all clarify that the intention of forming any political party is geared towards forming a government, a democratic government. That is why you form parties. Otherwise, if that is not the intention, then you don't have any use of engaging in forming political parties or even joining politics. However, before, we never used to have rules of engagement, proper rules of engagement. And that is why the constitution of this country now has been able to lay down provisions on the rules of engagement. That is why Parliament passed the Political Parties Act and equally the Elections Act, so that for the first time, we can streamline the political parties. If you look at the intention of the law itself, the Political Parties Act and the Constitution, is to make sure that for the first time, the mischief is no longer there. Whereby, for example, I would form a political party, not that I want to articulate any issues that affect this country, but for the purpose of trading with that political party. We want to address that question of briefcase parties, that they are just there for speculation purpose, waiting for the highest bidder. We want to correct the situation whereby that there is proper representation in these political parties. That is why they have also taken the issue of, for example, gender. Yeah? If you look at the Political Parties Act, it's very clear that you have to fulfill certain criteria. There is the threshold now that, for example, a party should be gender sensitive, take care of the minority. They must also look at regional representation, the issue of ethnic diversity. They are all streamlined, whereby you cannot have a party now that belongs to Mount Kenya region because the Kikuyus want to form a political party, the Ruyas want to form a political party. That is what is being corrected.
All right.
We are cleaning up the process now. And lastly, to have clean democracy, you also have to clean up the institutions.
All right.
Those institutions are the political parties.
Thank you very much. Time for another break, but before we do that, if you are watching us from home, kindly respond to this question. Do you think political parties in this country serve the interests of the common mwananchi? Text your response to the number on your screen. Now, give us your name and where you're watching us from. You can also catch us on Twitter using hashtag Agenda Kenya. The debate goes on after this break. Welcome back to Agenda Kenya with me, Jason Nyantino. Tonight we are looking at the new Political Parties Act, and we want to find out if this new law is finally going to entrench internal political party democracy. Mr. Mkele, there was a question from Anne in the audience about what do political parties in this country stand for? What is their main idea? I think she's talking about ideology. Do you think our parties are doing well in terms of ideology?
The ideology part of it, maybe I leave to politicians who seated here. But she talked about the interest of the people, whether they serve the interest of the people. The answer is yes and no. In the past, let's say in 2002, when I was handling these political parties and the general election, you will find that the nomination system was so bad. You will get a name at anniversary towers, and in the afternoon, you will get another name, and next morning, you are getting another name. And the answer is no, this is not the person we can use to win that election. They want another person. Now, this is purely personal. It is not in the interest of the people. And the parties were owned, and as far as by individuals. And even now, they are still owned by individuals. It is the transition I mentioned about now we are now going through. Yes, because we need leadership. You may quarrel about a matatu, the way it is driven, 14-seater or a 26-seater, but it is the one on the road. You will use it. So they give the Kenyans the leadership. In that case, if we have an orderly election, which the way the parties are going, then we would say we got something out of it. So in a brief form, it is a transition. And as I've said it elsewhere in one of the papers, we need to look at the interest of this country now. Can we enforce the law? It doesn't matter what beautiful law you have, my sisters, daughters, and brothers, if the law cannot be enforced. So, and those who are supposed to enforce the law quite often just sit and watch so long as their personal interests are fulfilled. So we hope that the change now that is coming is the real serious change, and we ask those whom we have placed in a position to enforce the law to tell us why they are not doing so. Thank you.
I'll take my next question of the evening from Jerry Obila, who is a youth leader. Jerry.
Since the emergence of multi-party politics in Kenya, we've seen that political parties are only used as vehicles to win an election, and therefore they don't really represent the public interest. I'm looking at a scenario whether there's a possibility that political parties will not just be formed for the sake of an election and forming a government, but they'll be formed on the basis of public interest, whereby the public will be given an opportunity to have ownership over the parties. I don't know how effective the Political Parties Act will go in as far as the public will be given the opportunity to have ownership over political parties.
Thank you, Jerry. I'll take that to Honorable Muchuri. By the way, are you still a politician or you quit politics?
Yeah, I'm still a politician.
Which party do you belong?
I belong to a party known as Kenya African National Union, where I'm the KANU, where I'm the national organizing secretary.
All right,
but currently serving as chair of Center for Multi-Party Democracy, which is a membership organization of
Answer
political
Jerry's
parties.
question, please.
Jerry's question is very good. Political parties, in their very essence, exist primarily for one objective: to capture power in the name of the people, for the people, either on their own or in coalition with others. And therefore, if the objective is to gain power, capture power through law of means, which then brings in the element of democracy, democratic elections, competition on a fair playing field, it is hoped, therefore, that the only reason why those that would vote for Party A would vote for it is because they think that that party represents greater public interests than Party X, for instance.
That is fine, Honorable Mutsuri. But do you think that is the case? When Kenyans vote for KANU, for instance, do they vote for it because of the party or because of the individuals?
You see, Kenyans are fond of complaining. You get the leadership that you deserve. If you vote for Party A, then you must believe in what that party has provided. But moving from history, and I really like what my friend Gabriel Mukele has just explained, that we are moving from a very bad practice, very bad past, where parties belong to individuals. But now, if you look at even the nominations process provided for under the Political Parties Act and the Elections Act, there is power given to the IEBC under Article 88, sub-Article 4E, to resolve all disputes arising from nominations. So that when Gabriel Mukele at the ECK would receive, this is the person that has won, and tomorrow in the evening, he receives this one, tomorrow morning, he receives another. The commission will just say, how did you do this nomination?
Yeah, so do you think the new law actually empowers the ordinary person in terms of, as far as political parties are concerned?
Yes.
How?
This power in the Constitution given to the commission under that Article 88 is actually captured in the Elections Act. So that if a member of this party goes through a nomination process and you know you have won, but you've been rigged, that is the language we use in this country, you have been rigged, you have recourse, not to the owner of the party, as used to be the practice in the past, but you go to the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission and lodge your complaint there, which must be determined immediately on the basis of what happened.
All right. I need to listen to Honorable Kiunjuri. You're currently, let me say currently, promoting Grand National
Union.
Party which is a political party, isn't it?
Sure.
Quickly tell us, what does it stand for? And how are Kenyans beneficiaries of your political party?
Yes, I would like to take two different angles when answering your question.
Quickly.
First of all, we are made to believe each and every one day that the political parties have ideologies, they come up with their own manifestos, and that they are adhered to. But that is to the contrary. If you listen to the question that's been asked right now, on whether they are not just political vehicles, I would say that most of these political parties, almost all of them, have been vehicles for elections. Why do I see this? Because by the end of the day, the only way you can create a formidable party is not only coming up with the name Grand National Union and posting it there for people to join in.
Please tell us how you have created your party involving the people.
That's where I'm going now.
Please.
That you have to come up with a party that is already grassroots oriented, that is already, is already accept the principle of our teamwork, whereby members of your party must first of all understand what the party is all about. For example, already we are in the process of a full registration of a Grand National Union. We have been able to post to our people our party manifesto so that they can comment on that manifesto. They can give us idea on that manifesto.
Have they done that?
They're already doing it. And that is why we have given ourselves up to the end of April so that we can be able now to comply with the issues that are related to our manifesto. True, that our own constitution, we are also posting it to our followers so that they can understand this party from beginning. But when people pretend that they are members of a party, and in fact, to be a member of a party is different from being a supporter of the party, which most Kenyans are, or followers of a party, or voters of particular individuals. That must be categorized. Who is a member of a political party?
Finish. I need to take questions.
Yeah. Who is a member of a political party? Who is a supporter of a political party? Who is a follower of a political party? And a voter of a particular party.
All right. Thank you. I'll go back to the audience. The gentleman in glasses, in a tie, in the middle row.
My name is Timothy, and I'm an international relations scholar. If you look at the case of political parties within this country, we do not have political parties that sell manifestos to the people at the lower blocks, at the grassroots level, at our level. So you find that at the end of the day, yes, some political parties have manifestos, but others do not have. My question would then be, what is the social responsibility and the electorate's responsibility to politics in itself, and also to us as a whole?
All right. Maybe I'll take one more, then we can answer them concurrently. The gentleman right at the back.
My name is Chrysanthus Onyango. I'm a campus dropout. And my question is, here in Kenya we have a number of political parties as compared to other developed countries like the US, where you are either a Democrat or a Republican. And you get that the number of the political parties that we have has got different agendas. And you find that one has got to actually affiliate himself to any particular party. But the problem that we have here in Kenya is that when one has actually affiliated himself to a particular party, it does not actually mean that that is the political party that will take him towards the general election.
Okay.
So the point is there a regulation that the MPs or our MPs can have in place that this is regulated?
Thank you, thank you. I'll start with you, Gabriel Mkele. I'll paraphrase the second one for you, but the first one from Timothy, manifestos and political parties, how do they market them? What do you have to say about that?
Now, I must confess, I have looked at a few manifestos, but these are mere words, mere writings to convince the people that they should vote for them. Nobody really sits down and analyzes and say, we did this and this one we didn't do. Like you would find in some of the examples that one of the questionnaire or questions have been raised. So on the issue of manifestos, I am, with all respect, and at any rate in Kenya, you will not even have on these numerous parties the differences. We know we are poor, we know we need education and so on. And you will hardly find somebody picking up something that is basically different from the other. I can form a party simply because the other person is not giving me away. Like our churches even. We disagree in the church, and the next thing you see, a rival has set up another church with a different name. Slightly. It is. Now, the other question raised by Onyango.
I'll take that to probably membership of political parties, individual-centered, or the people sign up because they believe what those parties stand for. I'll give a quick example of the US, the Republicans and the Democrats. It's very clear when you're a Republican what you believe in, and also when you're a Democrat. Do you think we have that here?
Well, I think we're being very unfair because we're a young democracy. 40 years old compared to 200 and something years old in the US democracy. The first thing I want to ask the public, first of all, read the act. Read the election acts. Read the political parties' acts. Understand them. Interrogate the manifestos. The Political Parties Act under Schedule 2 has a template and the minimums that must go into those constitutions. How many of you have read those constitutions? I think it is unfair on our political system. It is unfair on Parliament, who have gone through a lot of debate to put this legislation into force, and then the public doesn't read. The public wants to criticize.
So you are encouraging the people to read.
I am telling them to read and understand. How many in the audience here have ever read the manifesto of the GNU or the constitution of the party of GNU or ODM? Go and read them, and once you have read them, go and interrogate the leaders of those political parties at political meetings. You know, as opposed to what we are seeing now, you go, you say a little prayer, and then you go home. Do not do that. Go and read and interrogate and take your problems to those parties. It is there.
All right.
And if it does not happen, it is because you're not taking advantage. You're complaining.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And with that, we come to the very end of this week's edition of Agenda Kenya. I thank my panel and my studio audience for that wonderful, wonderful discussion, and to all of you at home for watching. Remember, you can be part of this conversation by responding to this question. Do you think political parties in this country serve the interests of the common mananchi? Text your response to the number on your screen. Give us your name and where you're watching us from. You can also catch us on Twitter using #AgendaKenya and also Facebook. And until next week, goodbye.